We are continuing with the subject of rebuke, which we have been discussing, and that is that a Jew, if he should be insulted by some other Jew or offended, he is not permitted to harbor hatred in the heart. And the Torah recognizes that we're human. We can't just get rid of that emotion. So it commands us to confront the offender and to rebuke him, let him know what he did to us. Hopefully he'll recognize it, he'll apologize, and you'll forgive him. There is also, as we said, another situation. If you should see a Jew going off the proper, it's called the derech, the proper path, violating mitzvos of the Torah, you simply can't ignore it as though it's not your problem, because every Jew is responsible for another Jew in terms of helping him both physically and spiritually when he is in need. So therefore you have to rebuke him as well. But if you take a look at the wording of the Torah, every word of the Torah is divine. Every word, every phrase comes from Hashem. And thus you can see the divine wisdom in the way the Torah expresses itself. Because the Torah says, you shall surely rebuke him, and v'lo sisa olav chet, you shall not bear sin because of him. That statement has two distinct meanings, and that is the infinite wisdom of the Torah, that Hashem formulates statements that have truths and lessons and meanings on different levels. What does it mean, you shall not bear sin? On the plain level, it means that the failure to rebuke will cause you to bear sin. It could be the sin of hatred. Because of him. He did something to you, you failed to rebuke him, and therefore you were in a state of hatred. So you're bearing sin because of him. Also, if he's committing a sin and you have the capability to persuade him to return to the good path, then the Torah is teaching us that you bear sin, that your failure to intervene in the situation creates a certain element of culpability. You're culpable. Because if you could have prevented something from happening, if you could have saved someone and you didn't do so, you become culpable. There's another meaning to that idea that you shall not bear sin. And that is, the Rambam learns from here, the Gemara, the Talmud learns from here, the Rambam codifies it, that even in the course of rebuking him, when you're doing a mitzvah, and even though it be for his benefit, or it be for the sake of removing the hatred from your heart, which is a great, great mitzvah, you may not do so in any way that inflicts pain on him. So the Torah is teaching us the principle that you cannot embarrass or afflict the feelings, hurt the feelings of a fellow Jew. Where does it choose to do so? In this situation where it's telling us to do this very significant mitzvah. That's another meaning. The same words, you shall not bear sin because of him, is also teaching that you have no right, even in the course of doing a mitzvah, to do it in a manner which afflicts someone and which causes a person pain. So those are two distinct meanings and understandings. And look at how many lessons we learn from one phrase. That is that failure to rebuke another individual can make you liable to sin because you could have saved them and you failed to do so, even if it's only on a spiritual level. Failure to rebuke another individual can cause you to bear sin because he offended you. But just because he offended you doesn't mean you have a right to hate him. There's a remedy. You always have to seek out the remedy. And the third lesson is that even when you're doing a wonderful mitzvah, to rebuke a person, do so with intelligence, do so with sensitivity, do so with thought. Do not do it in a manner which causes him pain, because it's a very, very significant prohibition of the Torah to cause a fellow Jew pain, and especially if it should be mental pain, especially if it should be embarrassment. So from one phrase in the Torah, we see the divine wisdom, how many significant lessons, eternal teachings we learn from that one simple phrase.